the Gambler's Ruin Project where the odds get cracked. LaLiga Round 34 Special Edition.
Welcome back to the Gambler's Ruin Project, powered by SmartBet AI. And today we're headed to Spain for a full La Liga doubleheader.
First up, it's the Basque Derby, Real Sociedad versus Athletic Club, one of the most emotionally charged fixtures in Spanish football.
And then we shift to Catalonia, where Espanyol host Real Betis, a lower-profile clash on paper, but one where the models see a clear edge.
2 matches, 2 sets of model predictions, and 2 different tactical dynamics, but one consistent goal, helping you understand the data behind the game.
And a reminder as always, this show is for informational and entertainment purposes only. No picks are guaranteed, and please bet responsibly.
All right, let's kick it off with the Derby in San Sebastian.
All right, let's set the scene. Kickoff is May 4th, 9 p.m. local time at the Really Arena. And if you're thinking of sunshine football, think again. Forecast calls for cloudy skies, 60 degrees, gusts pushing 16 miles per hour, and humidity over 80%.
Ah, the Basque Country Classic. Cool, damp, a little moody, perfect setting for a derby full of grit and friction. The kind of weather where defenders thrive and strikers hate their first touch.
Especially when the ball's skipping like a stone on a puddle-filled pitch. You've got to control it like you're playing billiards, not football.
And it's not just the weather that's got drama written all over it. Both teams are walking wounded. Real Sociedad missing Zubeldia, Zakarian, and Odriozola. That's a big hit to their spine.
Absolutely. Zubeldia anchors their midfield transitions and Odriozola brings pace out wide when they need width. Without them, they might be forced into a slower, more reactive shape.
Meanwhile, Athletic are without Oyhan Sunset, and that's no small absentee. He's their top scorer with 15 goals, and a lot of their through-ball creativity flows through him.
Yeah, no Sunset means they may lean even more on Nico Williams and Guruzeta to create something from the flanks or second balls. It's going to test their depth and their decision-making.
And let's not forget the psychological factor. This isn't just a league match, it's the Basque Derby. These teams don't just want points, they want pride.
Exactly. It's not just about who finishes higher in the table. It's about bragging rights at the bar, in the cafes, and around the dinner table for the next year.
Which is why this match rarely follows the script. Even with all our models and metrics, local derbies inject volatility. The crowd, the pressure, it can flip a game in minutes.
So in summary, a windy, tense evening, missing key creators, a crowd baying for blood, and 2 teams that know each other way too well. Buckle up, this one's going to be electric.
All right, let's talk numbers, and this week, SmartBet AI is leaning hard in one direction. Here's what the data tells us. Poisson regression predicts a lopsided scoring line. Real Sociedad, 1.35 expected goals. Athletic Club, 3.59 expected goals. That's a full 2-goal margin in modeled averages, rare to see in a rivalry game like this.
That's pretty brutal. I mean, if you just looked at those numbers, you'd think Sociedad were playing Real Madrid on short rest.
It gets more decisive. The Monte Carlo simulation, that's 10,000 match outcomes simulated using Poisson distributed scoring, spits out these probabilities. Away, win, 78%, draw, 12% home win, just 10%. You don't often see that kind of skew unless one team is fielding their academy. And when we go across the model suite, both XG Boost and the MLP neural network back Athletic for the win. The only outlier? Random Forest, which sees this as a potential draw, likely due to its heavier weighting on historical balance and tight matchups.
This isn't just a lean, it's a storm surge of data crashing toward Athletic Club. When 3 out of 4 models, including Poisson and Monte Carlo, are shouting away win, you pay attention.
But hold on, don't pack up your Sociedad flags just yet. This is where context kicks in, right?
Exactly. Stats are great, but football lives in the margins. One big contextual red flag, Oyhan Sunset is out. That's not just a player, that's 15 goals off the pitch and a massive creative void.
And if Sociedad come out ultra-compact, weather slows things down, or the derby atmosphere ignites an early goal, suddenly that 78% starts looking a little too confident.
That's why we always say these are probabilities, not guarantees. The AI models give us a framework, but real life, that's where chaos lives.
So Athletic Club are heavy favourites on paper. But if you're backing them, do it with your head, not just the heat of the model. Okay, we've seen the numbers, but let's ground this in football reality. How do these two teams actually play, and how do the injuries change the equation?
Let's start with Real Sociedad. Under Imanol Alguacil, they're known for compact possession with a left-sided overload, often through Oyarzabal. But that shape leans on structural discipline, and that's where things get tricky.
Because their midfield anchor, Igor Zubeldia, is out with a hamstring. That's a big hole at the base of their triangle. He's the metronome, the guy who keeps everything ticking and breaks transitions.
Right, and without Zubeldia, they lose that safety valve. The burden likely shifts to Mikel Merino to do double duty, both pressing and distributing, which could leave gaps when they lose the ball.
And let's not overlook Odriozola. Sure, he's only featured twice this season, but he's one of their few fullbacks who can stretch the pitch vertically. Without him, they're going to be even narrower.
Now let's flip it. Athletic Club, even without Oyhan Sanset, still have options. Their strength is structure and intensity. They press early, play wide through Nico Williams, and recycle possession intelligently.
And here's where it gets fascinating. Without Sanset, their midfield becomes more mechanical, less creative, more functional. Expect Dani Garcia to hold and Munian to step up into those half spaces to plug the creative gap.
So this isn't a case of a team falling apart. It's a team slightly rewiring itself. More conservative build-up, but still high pressure in transition.
And let's talk pressing. Athletic lead La Liga in pressures in the final third. Sociedad's back line, when flustered, can be prone to turnovers, especially if Lenormand is forced wide.
If you see Lenormand getting turned near the touchline in the first 10 minutes, grab your popcorn. That's where the chaos starts.
But at home, Sociedad aren't pushovers. They control the pace, draw fouls, and love to kill momentum with short passing chains. If they get a lead, they'll strangle the tempo.
So tactically, we've got Sociedad, equal sign possession, overloads, control, but thinned depth. Athletic equal sign structure, press, verticality, but missing their talisman.
One has the shape, the other has the engine. The team that dictates tempo in the first 20 minutes probably writes the script for the rest of the game.
All of which brings us right back to the models. They love Athletic, but in this derby, a stray red card, a weird bounce, or an early lead can flip the entire simulation on its head. Alright, time to zoom out. We've talked tactics, injuries, and AI models, but football isn't played in isolation. It's a game of choices, reactions, and adaptation. So let's bring in our favorite mental lens game theory.
This match, like most elite football, is a classic strategic interaction. Each team's best move depends on what they expect the other team to do. It's not just chess, it's simultaneous chess, blindfolded.
And it starts before kickoff. Say Real Sociedad believe Athletic will come flying out with a high press. Do they stick to short build-up and risk turnovers? Or do they go long and bypass it?
If they go long too soon, Athletic gets to settle into second ball dominance, advantage Bilbao. But if Sociedad keep passing and lose the ball under pressure, again, advantage Bilbao. That's where game theory tension lives.
This is what we call a Nash equilibrium, a tactical balance point where neither team benefits from changing strategy unilaterally. The problem is, in real matches, coaches bluff, players make mistakes, and fans scream bad advice.
Or worse, someone scores a freak goal in minute 5 and burns the whole matrix.
Exactly, and that's where it gets interesting for bettors. You're not just predicting outcomes, you're predicting the predictions. You're guessing how the market thinks the teams will play. That's second-level thinking.
This is why we recommend mixed strategies when betting tight matches. Instead of going all in on Athletic to win, consider a small stake there and hedge with Athletic draw no bet under 4.5 goals, correct score 1-2 or 1-3.
It's like portfolio theory. Spread your risk across multiple logical outcomes. Don't try to be a hero, try to be consistently solvent.
And for all the AI believers out there, remember, even SmartBet can't predict a sudden tactical shift. Game theory helps us read between the lines and prepare for what the models can't see.
So whether you're a manager, a model, or a bettor, your edge comes from seeing the interaction, not just the input. That's why game theory isn't just academic, it's actionable.
Exactly. Because in football, like poker, it's not about the best hand, it's about what the other side thinks you're holding.
Alright, we shift south to Catalonia for our second game, Espanyol versus Real Betis, and this one's a little quieter on paper but the models say otherwise.
Yeah, this is one of those don't change the channel matches. Betis are favourites, but both teams are dealing with some serious personnel issues.
Exactly. On one side, Espanyol are limping through the season with tactical inconsistency. On the other, Betis are missing key pillars, especially at the back.
And that's despite Betis missing Avila Marc Roca and Diego Llorente. But context matters. Espanyol just haven't been able to string together fluid attacks. Let's break this down. Poisson regression has Betis scoring more than twice what Espanyol is expected to produce. And our Monte Carlo engine, after 10,000 simulated matches, shows a near 70% win rate for Betis, which is one of the more dominant projections we've had in weeks.
Let's start with Espanyol. They're expected to set up in a 4-1-4-1, sitting deep and trying to absorb pressure. Their fullbacks rarely venture forward, and without Brian Olivan, they'll struggle to build from the back.
And when you're struggling to retain the ball and can't play through midfield, it's going to be a long day, especially against a Betis side that still has William Carvalho and Guido Rodriguez to dictate tempo.
Exactly. Betis aren't explosive without Avila, but they're smart. Expect methodical build-up, triangles in wide areas, and Isco floating in half spaces to open Espanyol's low block.
So what does SmartBet AI tell us? This won't be high chaos, it's about structural discipline versus creative control. And the AI trusts Betis to control the rhythm and convert.
This isn't a shootout, it's a chess match. If you're betting this game, lean into low volatility markets, like Betis win plus under 3.5 goals.
And if you're live betting, watch for the first 15 minutes. If Espanyol go behind early, it's over. They don't chase games well.
So we've got two road favourites in this episode, but very different paths to 3 points.
Match 1, high-tempo, high-tension derby energy. Match 2, controlled possession, risk management and tactical precision.
Betis are like a surgeon. Sociedad versus Athletic. That's more like a street fight. Same result maybe, very different journey.
Alright, let's wrap it up. 2 matches. 2 very different dynamics, but one clear theme from the models this week. Road teams have the edge. Match 1 recap. Real Sociedad versus Athletic Club. AI favours an Athletic Club win at 78%. Most likely scorelines 1-3, 1-4, 1-2. Key absence, sunset from Athletic. Best bet, Athletic Club money line. Caution flag, random forest model leaned draw.
Match 2 recap, Espanyol versus Real Betis. AI favours a Real Betis win at 68.2%. Most likely scorelines 0-2, 1-2. Key absences, Avila, Roca, Llorente from Betis. Best bet, Betis to win plus under 3.5 goals. Bonus, Espanyol team total under 1.5. So what do we take from this? Trust the Poisson and Monte Carlo models when they converge. Watch for random forest descent. It's often the canary in the coal mine. And most importantly, blend tactical context with statistical confidence.
And remember, we're not predicting destiny, we're predicting probability. Even a 78% outcome fails 1 in 5 times. Bankroll management is everything.
Next week, we head to Italy for a Serie A showdown. Inter, Juve and Milan all in the mix. The title race is tight and the margins are razor thin.
Expect chaos, controversy and some stunning AI forecasts.
And maybe a couple of models that just flat out disagree. We love that.
Until then, predict smart, bet small and stay one step ahead of the market. This has been the Gambler's Ruin Project, powered by SmartBet AI.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Gambler's Ruin Project. Remember, our content is for informational purposes only, and all predictions are AI generated. Gambling can be addictive, so please bet responsibly. If you or someone you know needs help with gambling addiction, here are resources that can provide support. North America. Contact the National Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-5224-700, available 24/7 for confidential help. UK. Reach out to BeGambleAware at 0808-802-0133 or visit begambleaware.org for information and support. Bet smart, bet safe, and as always, remember to keep things fun and balanced. We'll see you next week for more insights. Thanks for joining us, and don't forget to hit subscribe for more AI-driven insights and pro betting tips each week. See you next time. Disclaimer: this content is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The predictions and insights provided by the Gambler's Ruin Project, powered by SmartBet AI technology, are generated using statistical models and historical data. These predictions do not guarantee outcomes and should not be considered financial or betting advice. Gambling can be addictive. Please bet responsibly and only wager what you can afford to lose. If you or someone you know is struggling with gambling addiction, seek help from professional support services. Legal notice: this content does not constitute an offer to participate in gambling. The Gambler's Ruin Project does not operate as a bookmaker or betting service and does not encourage gambling. All users are responsible for complying with local laws and regulations regarding sports betting and gambling-related content in their respective jurisdictions. The Gambler's Ruin Project, where the odds get cracked. Where the odds get